Yeah.
I've seen that happen too. I'm intrigued by the trend that I'm seeing towards using beer yeasts. I mean, it's always been there, but it seems like it's increasing now.
Yeah. The one that we've been using is 1388 by Y yeast a lot, and we've had some incredible results. It was actually brought to my attention a while ago back from one of the gentlemen I was telling you about, Jared, who was a big help to us, and he is an incredible amateur mead maker, and so he brings things to me a lot of times and tells me things he's experimenting with or whatever, and one of them was that yeast, and I was like, that sounds weird, but I'll give it a try. And, we tried it on small batches, and I was absolutely in love with the result. And
that's the famous.
Now,
that's the bomb yeast.
Is that bomb? I thought that sounded familiar. That's bomb yeast. Okay.
Yep.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah, it's starting to creep in more and more into our recipes and into our formulas and all that kind of stuff. And I have a comfort with D47. I know it very well. And 1388, I'm starting to know better. I don't have a complete comfort with it yet, but as I use it more and more, I'm impressed a little bit more each time.
I think we get stuck in our ruts. I mean, for years, I was stuck on, and I hate to say this, Montrachet yeast. I took so much crap from Pete about that one.
Hey, I was stuck on champagne yeast for a long time.
I started out with that.
Yeah, I started with that.
Yeah, my first couple meads were champagne yeast, and then I discovered Montrachet, and I went to the brew shop, and they're like, "Oh, you got to try this, man! It's really awesome." And so I did, and it got to the point where, I realized that I was actually not getting the results I wanted, and that's when I started branching out into some of the other yeast. But it was Pete who finally dragged me over into Lallemand and some of that. I even used to use because I used to make a lot of sweet meads. And why use sweet mead smack pack, which has a checkered reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's with that yeast pack.
I've never had good results with that one.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people. I've heard a lot about stalled ferments, and I don't know what it is with that, but we'll have to ask Y Yeast if we can get them to come on the show. I really want to know more about that. We can figure out some way to ask them that doesn't make them mad,
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. Yeah, I mean, they make phenomenal products, but I haven't had the same experience when we were doing, when we were really just flirting with the idea and doing as many test batches as possible. I remember using the dry and the sweet, and I had exact opposite results with each. So my dry turned out sweet, and my sweet turned out dry. And I was like, I don't know what's going on here with these.
I had it crash and burn halfway through the ferment, so you'd end up with, severe honey water with a little alcohol in it that was super treacly, and so then you were like, well, crap. Now what? You're kind of stuck in mid-ferment.
It's not what you want to end up with.
Not really, no. It wasn't where I wanted to go. So, yeah. Oh, that's interesting, though. I'm curious to see, I'll be curious to see what you're doing. Have you turned out, have you got anything on the market yet with 1388, or is that still in experimentary stage?
No, I do. So we have a hopped mead called Sweet Leaf that we do with 1388, and that was actually the first mead that we made with that yeast, and that yeast worked the best. We were doing a lot of testing for hopped meads. Again, being involved in a lot of the beer industries. Yeah, one, you created an IPA or pale ale mead, if you will. And when I tried it with D47, the results were terrible to make
suboptimal.
It simple. I did not like it. I did it probably 2 or 3 times thinking, all right, maybe it's the hops, maybe it's me, maybe it wasn't a good fermentation, and every time it just came out cidery and appley and acetaldehyde and all these things I didn't want in there. And then so I said, all right, well, let's go back to the drawing board and let's grab 5 different yeasts and let's try, the same process with different yeasts. And we tried everything from cider yeast to different wine yeast to different beer yeast. And the results that I liked the best was 1388, and it was above and beyond the other 4 that we had done. And from there, I did it a couple more times to make sure that it wasn't a fluke. I was very happy with it, and now we have that product on the market. and it's doing very well for us.
Nice. Yeah, I saw in your list that you gave us that you guys are using multiple ingredients in each one, which I think is interesting. The one that caught my attention, and these guys will laugh at me because I do this all the time, is the strawberry vanilla.
Yeah,
I'm a bit of a strawberry whore, so I saw that and was
that's kind of part of that modern mead and that folk flair that we have is that when we started this, I didn't want to make another blueberry mead. I didn't want to make another strawberry mead. There were amazing examples of those already on the market. Mm-hmm. So why try to reinvent the wheel? So we went at it. Let's add more to it, but let's make it simple. So we do, obviously you said strawberry vanilla. We make one that is lemon and basil. That is probably our number one seller for sparkling meads.
Okay.
In the fall, we do cranberry and rosemary.
Rosemary's a tough one. I mean, it's great when it works, but boy, it's easy for it to go sideways.
Yes, it is, and it is just basically adding tons of rosemary to your batches and keeping your fingers crossed.
and then very, very carefully.
Yeah. We're just doing everything we do is like that. A lot of our still meads, like the one I sent you, has been aged in a rum barrel or aged in a bourbon barrel, or a lot of them have been aged in neutral wine barrels. I just think it adds a complexity. There's tannins that come through the mead that it helps out. The micro-oxidation adds something to it. It just adds another layer to these meads that I think a lot of times can be too simple. So I'm trying to bring it to the next level, I guess.
So what kind of challenges have you been facing in upsizing your processes from the 1 gallon and 5 gallon test batches to the size you're making now?
Not anything too crazy, but one thing that definitely jumps out is when we first started making the batches, especially strawberry vanilla, which we called Welcome, and just going through that 80, I think our first batch was 80 gallons, and using that much strawberry puree after basically juicing them we started with the anticipation of having 80 gallons. I think after primary we were sitting on 60 gallons because there was 20 gallons of pulp on the bottom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which,
so
if you freeze that, makes really good strawberry topping, just saying.
I would imagine. We did everything. I mean, I had it in we cold crashed it. I mean, we had everything trying to get out, and I maybe was able to pull another 2 gallons off the top, and I was like, all right, this is not going to work out because I can't be losing 20 gallons every time just to pulp on the bottom. So that was one of the big issues that we had. I think at that batch we ended up with 50 gallons in the end after more settling and doing a couple things wrong and hooking up a pump wrong and everything you do for your first time or the first couple times you make your mistakes. But that was pretty big. That was I guess was a little disappointing to have that amount in the end when you were anticipating another 30 gallons.
Yeah. So what did you do about that? I mean, I'm assuming you're still making the strawberry vanilla, so how did you get around the whole lose 15% of it to pulp?
We basically switched from a puree to pressing the strawberries ourselves.
Okay. So you went straight to juice
removing the matter. Yep, yeah, removing the matter completely and just using the juice.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Makes sense, especially when you gotta pull that.
Yeah, with strawberries, there's no need. There's no need for the pulp. There's no need for the berry. All you want, the color comes out. If you press blueberries, it'll come out on a much lighter white side, like if you were pressing grapes. But strawberries comes out red as a strawberry is. So there's no need for the rest of that. Once you pressed it off of its skin, off the strawberry itself, you're good to go.
Yeah. I don't know. There are those who would argue that the strawberry matter, especially the seeds, lends a certain complexity. It adds a level of complexity to it. But I don't know, and I can't prove that one way or the other. I know I do mine on the pulp, but then I'm not making 80-gallon batches either. I'm doing a 5-gallon batch, so I'm totally okay
absolutely. And I could definitely see that. I could see tannins coming through from the from those seeds that are on there. But the strawberry vanilla we make it's a short mead, so it's around 8% alcohol.
Okay.
With that vanilla. So yeah, exactly. It's not a large mead. If I were to make a still mead or a higher alcohol mead, I probably would consider using whole fruit.
You could always rack onto the mush, freeze the mush and then bring it back and rack onto those suckers,
Well, you could always bag the mush and use it that way, because you might be able to fit it in a bag after you've taken the juice out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's squeezing it at that level, but then, same thing. You basically remove it, and you'd end up pressing it again with, like, a large bladder press or something of that nature to get all of that juice out of there.
Plus,
I
you
found
have to filter the crap out of it,
I don't know, I always found when I was doing strawberries that you ended up losing a lot. I always made up more water and ended up with a bigger batch than I anticipated, because so much actually came out of the fruit when I bagged it.
Well, yeah, but also how big a bag
I wish that were mine.
Yeah, how big a bag is that at 80 gallons, too?
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, that
might be a really large bags. Our bags are like as big as our bags are like as big as our head, right? We're talking about a bag that's maybe the size of like 3 medicine balls.
Yeah, it's around 120 pounds of strawberries.
That's a big bag. So yeah, then you get to the whole how do you squeeze that?
Yeah.
A big press.
Yeah. So yeah, I totally could see the logistical things. Are you guys in the strawberry vanilla? Are you using beans or liquid vanilla?
I am using for that one. We are using beans at the moment. I did some. We've been using some, or in the past actually, we used some like extracts, but I wasn't happy with the extracts we were getting, and then we got some from a company out of Maryland that I was extremely happy with. But I'm still using beans just because they're easy. It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot of time.
Just basically split them
and the result is nice. Yeah, exactly, and the results are unbelievable. On another mead that we make, Son of a Bee, it is it's a bourbon aged mead with maple syrup and vanilla. The vanilla
really?
thing.
Holy cow!
You've got my attention.
Yeah, you got mine too, dude. Yeah, so, I know you don't... Okay, we're going to have to talk, so I got to figure out something. I'm not coming to PA anytime soon, so we got to figure something out.
Sure. I think we literally are sitting on, like, 8 bottles of that left, and then and we're sold out of that probably for 4 months, and then we have more batches coming out. But, yeah, that's one of our more popular ones. Same thing, as we age it in the barrel, I just add all of the beans in there at that point, and it ages, it ages with the mead, and takes about 6 months, and through those 6 months, the vanilla really comes through and shows itself amazing. That's actually, Son of a Bee is actually probably the mead that was the turning point for me from an amateur to going professional. That was the first mead, actually the first mead I ever entered into Mather as an amateur, and then took home an award for that mead, and that was the one that kind of really got the gears turning. And I was like, all right,
remember
Mather Cup it by
yeah, that was one of the ones I wrote down to go find later, and then never quite managed to find it.
Yeah.
Because all the open bottles of homebrew, get put out in the back, and so I write down the numbers of the ones that I hear. It's like, oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, that did really good, and I had no, I didn't think I would win at all or anything. It was more of like I wanted to get some feedback, back from some of the best judges you can get, and with ideas of maybe doing it, but when it really got the gears turning, and I was humbled and super excited at the same time. I was like, whoa, all right, that's good.